ce 9e épisode de ma série D'une mère à l'autre, où j'ai le plaisir de recevoir aujourd'hui Monica Canducci. Bonjour Monica.
Bonjour.
Alors Monica est avec nous pour parler de la 9e mère de clan, la femme du soleil couchant. Et avant en fait qu'elle nous en parle et qu'on rentre dans le vif du sujet, comme toujours, je vais vous lire le poème et les enregistrements de cette mère de clan. Septembre, la femme du soleil couchant. La gardienne des rêves et des buts de demain. La dépositaire des besoins des 7 générations futures. La mère de la bonne utilisation de la volonté. Volonté de vivre, volonté de survivre, volonté de pouvoir. La protectrice des ressources de la terre-mère. Celle qui veille sur la préservation. Elle nous enseigne à préserver et nous servir de nos ressources sans rien gâcher. À préparer demain en étant exact aujourd'hui, en atteignant nos buts. À manifester notre intérêt, à nous sentir en interdépendance. À montrer notre compassion par la façon dont nous vivons. À utiliser de façon juste notre volonté en mettant en œuvre nos intentions pour le bénéfice des générations futures. Elle nous enseigne à vivre la vérité. Son poème. Toi qui protèges les rêves de demain, mère de la nuit remplie d'étoiles, montre-moi comment vivre ma vérité et porte mes rêves jusqu'à la lumière. Apprends-moi comment utiliser ma volonté pour réaliser la vérité qui m'est intime, en découvrant toutes les parties de moi, mêlées d'ombre et de lumière. Fais-moi chanter la chanson du futur et me soucier de ce qu'il sera, dans le respect de toutes les lois de la nature, pour les animaux, les pierres et les arbres. Mère, c'est toi que je vois dans le soleil qui se couche et que j'entends dans la pluie qui tombe. Tu m'enseignes la connaissance intérieure à travers le doux refrain de ton cœur. J'ai beaucoup d'émotions à chaque fois que je relis ce poème. Ça me confirme pourquoi c'est toi, Monica. Alors, avant que je te présente, que j'explique comment on s'est rencontrés, j'aimerais savoir comment ça résonne pour toi. Est-ce que tu veux tout de suite essayer en français? Est-ce qu'on y va en anglais?
On peut essayer le français parce que je reviens à Montréal, donc j'ai besoin de
De
commenter.
pratique?
Après 2 années en Californie, 2 années avant en Ontario, mon français, c'est pas le meilleur, donc peut-être qu'on va à essayer un peu de français, and then if I have to switch to English, I'm so sorry.
No
Peut-être.
problem.
Au
No
revoir.
problem. No problem. I put the subtitles, and so when you speak French, it looks weird, but it's okay.
Parfait.
Donc, juste pour les gens qui nous écoutent, en fait, Monica est italienne d'origine. Elle est arrivée à Montréal, je pense, en 2011-2012 à peu près. C'est ça?
Oui.
Donc, elle a vécu à Montréal, donc c'est pour ça qu'elle a appris le français, mais c'est vrai que depuis quelque temps, elle est en Californie, elle parle parfaitement anglais. Mais donc, on va essayer en français, et puis sinon, on changera en anglais et on traduira, il n'y a pas de problème. Alors, comment le poème, voilà, comment ça résonne pour toi?
Mais beaucoup, et je me sens tellement touchée,
Mhm,
très honorée
mhm.
pour être associée à sa mère.
Ouais.
Peut-être que je vais faire le switch en anglais maintenant.
Pas de problème.
It was a kind of discovery when you told me about this mother,
Mhm,
because it was like a way to discover more myself.
mhm,
But it's true that everything resonates. The protection, the preservation of resources,
mhm,
also the moment of the day, because it's true that I really love the sunset.
mhm,
And I work on the cycle or the on women's cycle and in connection with nature cycles.
mhm,
So that moment in the day is also connected to fall, to autumn, that season. And it's a very important season for the women because it's like that moment before menopause, that moment around 40s, between 40s and 50s. In that moment, we need really to connect to our inner resources in order to enter menopause like a spring, not a forever lasting winter. It's a kind of winter giving us access to all the season. But if we are not in touch with our inner resources, if we don't learn how to connect and how to use them wisely without wasting anything, then we could miss the importance of this moment, this transition. So it's really a moment of reflection on our depth and on our resources in order to transmit this. And the more we discover this balance, the coexistence of all these aspects, the aspects that gives birth, but also the aspect that bring us to a deeper level. And it's not easy sometimes to understand that life and death are the same thing, are serving the same purpose, that is existence. So what I like also, what I feel resonating is the light of the stars. You need the darkness, otherwise you don't see the stars. In the daylight, you can't see the stars because the sun is a star and it's so bright. And so it's always important to look at the big picture and to see the sun rising in the sunset. You leave the sunset in this way, and you are sure that you will see another day and the sun rising again.
Beautiful. That reminds me, once in a meditation, it was very cloudy and I was in a bad moment, but then I remember there's always the sun behind
the clouds.
The cloud, it's there, you just don't see it. So it's yeah, it gives you hope that, you know, even if now things are not going well, there is still joy or light in that, not just after that moment, but in that moment, you can find something that is great.
And when I fly, I have to fly here and there sometimes. It's I love the moment in which you go through the clouds and you see those clouds from below. They are so dark, and as soon as you are
above,
above, they are so bright and white. And it's really like a coin, the flip side of the coin. It's there, the coin is there. So in the present, you have the difficulty, but inside the difficulty, there is also something beautiful. I like that.
And it's really beautiful because I think the work I did with you really helped me to go from the darkness of my soul, of my wounds, to the light. Really, I mean, I knew you before we worked together, and I will explain that later, but when I started working with you, I think you brought back the joy that was always in me. So when we talk about, you know, go into your resources, it was there. I just couldn't see it anymore. And I had to do what we call shadow work to get there. But you're right. I mean, they're always hand to hand, like always together.
What I love to remind those working with me is that it's like in the alchemical process, you can extract the gold from the dark and heavy metal, the lead. If you don't have any lead, you don't have gold at the end. So it's the same thing. You can look at the trees, look at nature. Every tree, every plant, they they go deep with their roots
Mhm.
into the darkness, in the cold and dark earth, soil. And then from there, you see these beautiful flowers and leaves and fruits. So it's integration.
Mm.
And this is fall also, the autumn, like the sun, the setting sun. It's the same thing. It's a moment in which we have to turn inward, like the trees, getting rid of the leaves in order to see more leaves, new leaves on themselves. So it's all the same process. That is the wholeness, the discovery of the wholeness.
And I remember in one of your teachings, you say that wholeness, I mean, the word health, to be healthy in English comes from that. So it's to be whole again. And I found that so beautiful.
Yes, because healing, the root of the word in English, comes from holy, saint, sacred, and whole, complete. So healing is the ability to recognize our completeness. And it doesn't mean that we have to, I can lose an arm, I can lose a leg, I can lose an organ, of course. It's not that kind of wholeness. It's not the wholeness of the body. It's the wholeness, the recognition, the acknowledgement of our full being, our inner resources.
Yeah. And when I hear you talking now, I see another reason why you are the ninth mother of clan for me, because it's a lot about nature, about the preservation of it. And in your teachings, you use a lot nature as an example. And you just did with the tree, and in the exercise you did, like, we are the tree, we are the water, we are the elements. And you're right, I mean, when you explain things, when you explain the different season in the cycle of women, it's really like the season outside in nature. And I think you're the first one who pointed out that for me. Then I discovered, through you, I discovered the First Nations, like Dominique Rankin and 𝘊𝘰𝘶𝘬𝘐𝑺 Tardy, who have exactly the same speech, the same way of seeing life. That really helped me, because nature is something that, it's a resource that is always there for us. I mean, you just look around like the children do, and then you have the answers. So for me, see that you're the perfect woman for this month.
I feel so honored. I'm so thankful. Thank you very much.
And I have the pleasure to see you in green, because this is her color. And usually Monica wears red or black.
Yes. Sometimes the white too. But
yeah, that's true. It's
so funny, because when I paint, I use a lot of blue and green. And for sure, I need green. I need nature. I'm always looking for green outside. When it comes to wear some colors, I prefer black. It's like for me, disappearing, becoming one with the whole, or red, because I feel this energy from earth. White sometimes, but it's true that I had to think, okay, well, maybe I have a green red. I love green so much, and I never wear it. So thank you for helping me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And I love it.
But it's actually funny, because the choice, like, I think you're, among all the women I interviewed, you're really the most unconscious one, because I could associate you with many mothers of clan, and you told me yourself you could, because it's normal. We see ourselves in several of them, and that's the whole point of the book and the teaching. But it really appeared to me in a meditation. I heard a song, and I was meditating on this mother of clan, and I was like, I saw you, and I was like, wait, it's Monica. And I didn't know why. And then afterwards, I tried to rationalize. I'm like, well, she has red hair like the sunset. She helped women in their sunset part of life. So
But I'm past.
that's why.
I'm past the sunset. I will turn 60. So
Yeah, but I mean,
thank you. I'm happy with
your
that.
clientele, like the women you help, as you said, they are going into menopause or premenopause, and you help me. I'm not there yet, but you helped me nevertheless because we knew each other before. But so I found that interesting that when I read the poem 2 weeks ago to prepare for this interview, I really had a big emotion because I could see other meanings, other reason why it would be you. And I'm like, as you said, like my antennas were right.
Absolutely. And I was surprised. And then I started reading the poem and then the script and said, oh, yes, that's true. Well, that's true. The two things also resonating so much, three things.
Mm-hmm.
The connection with the stars
Mm-hmm.
for two reasons. When I work with tarot, I resonate particularly with the strength and the star. The star is one of my guides for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And many people also, they call me like guiding star, dancing fairy or guiding star. That's the thing. And the other reason, one of the shaman with whom I worked, 𝘴'𝘰𝘶𝘤𝘬𝘃, she was from Tuva, between Siberia and Mongolia. And her name means moon heart, but she was really in touch with the stars.
Mm-hmm.
And there we resonate a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then something else about the truth. When I found out that this mother is connected to living our truth, my spiritual master, a Sufi master, was called the truthful, because this path is the path of the heart and this is the path of truth. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, wow, how many things. And what really makes me feel so enthusiastic is that many different traditions, same thing. So it's like the integration of a shaman from Tuva, a Sufi master, the native teachings, everything at the end. Well, it's like the beams of a wheel, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. It's everything is bringing us to the same center, to the same origin, and or the same source or the same destination. It doesn't matter. But
yeah, the more I study self-development and ancient teaching, the more I see that they all say the same thing. And for me, okay, well, the truth is the same for everybody. Then we invented religions and they start to have different truths, but in the end, it's the same message. And I think you're the one of the first one who showed me that. And for the people who don't know you, so for me, you're an encyclopedia. You have so much knowledge on so many different topics, and you can make the connections between all of them.
This is what I love most, but because I feel like a Renaissance woman. Mm-hmm. I love to connect with knowledge, but practically. Mm-hmm. So I want to walk the path, not just hear from the path or speak about the path. No, I need to walk, and to walk not many paths to be everywhere, but I want to find the connection. I liked it because we are all different. We are different. We need different methods. We need different practices because we are not all the same. And so I love to say, okay, well, you resonate with this. Maybe when I suggest you to meet Dominique Rankin and Marie-José Tardif, it's because you somehow
I mentioned that in one of the dancing I did with you, I saw indigenous several times, and it was always coming back. So
yes, for me, it was clear. Okay, so maybe you have to connect to that path, because the most important thing is that we find our truth, our path. And even my Sufi master used to say, look, when you find something better for you, then you leave what you have and you go with the thing that you feel it's more resonant, because it's our search, it's our quest. So this is what we have to do to understand who we are beyond our ego and beliefs in. So find our nature, like the star also in the tarot. The star means a lot of things, but it's nature. It's our opportunity to come back to nature, to our nature. So nature can remind us to reconnect with our true nature, to discover it, of course.
Yeah, and I think it really helped me to do that, and also to leave my truth and do what is good for the next generation. Because I still remember when I finished working with you, I told you that, okay, I was in my second maternity leave, and I knew I didn't want to go back to my previous job, and I wanted to start a new career, be an entrepreneur, but I had no idea what I was going to do. I wanted to take time to think about it. And I remember you told me, I don't know what, but you will do something around maternity.
Yeah.
Because when we worked together, you really helped me connect with the woman I was before I became a mother. You really helped me identify the challenges that motherhood brought into my life. And when I started my project, at beginning, I thought my when you work on your persona or avatar in marketing, and I was like, yeah, I want to help women. And the more I was thinking about it and writing about it, the more it was obvious, no, not just women, mothers. It really has to be mothers. So this is why when she says like that, this mother of clan helps you reconnect to your resources and help you to live the truth for other generations. This is really what I think I am doing, and this is thanks to you.
I'm so happy that I'm happy that it was a good inspiration for you. I don't remember if maybe it was something in your natal chart, or maybe it was just an information coming in that moment. But I'm really happy that because I'm so happy that you are helping other women. It's motherhood is one of the most challenging challenges of our life. My Sufi master used to say, your child or your children are your prayer. A woman has discipline in the body, embodies discipline, because our hormonal cycle, it forces us to a rhythm, and there are things happening in our body and then outside our body when we become mothers. And this is a constant challenge for our ego. There is no bigger challenge for our ego than sometimes it's a relationship with a partner, but most of the time is motherhood.
It really is. Really. So since we're talking about motherhood, let's talk about this topic. So I met you, just for the record, I knew you before I started working with you because we were in the same choir in Montreal, Extravaganza. So we first met as friends, and we were singing together, and I knew your family at the time. I knew your husband and your son. But then I think this is when you moved to California, and I think you were already in California when
probably it was Ontario.
Oh, first. Ontario, yeah. You were in Ontario when I saw a post of yours on Facebook offering like a 4-session thing during the pandemic. And I don't remember the words you used, but it really described what I was feeling at the moment. I was like, oh my God, I really need her. And since I knew you, and I was like, okay, I know her, I will work with her. And that was really nice. And then I entered into your program. So you offer several programs online. So during the pandemic, that was just perfect. So the first one, I think, was the goddess within, when we worked with the elements,
Sacred,
and then it was the tarot.
Oh yeah, yes, true, yes.
Yeah. So it's great because it was at the same time something on the body and the emotions, and there was a spiritual part in it, like you did as you said, my natal chart, because you're very good at, you're an expert. I don't know if the expert is the right word, but you knew about astrology a lot, and since I always want to understand myself, that was great to have that light, that different perspective on myself, and then all the work through the body, and this is what really made me reconnect with my intuitions, with my, as you said, my inner resources. So that's how we met. That's our story together. And as I said, I did this program during my second maternity leave. So we talked about a lot of motherhood, because I remember I was sometimes in a Zoom session with you, and I was dancing with my baby.
The baby. Yes, I know what it means.
And I like that also the fact that since you are older, your motherhood was not behind you, because we always keep being mothers, but you've been there before me.
Oh yes, definitely. Now my son is 22, so
yeah.
I was there, and I still remember everything. He was so intense, and so, and still is, but now he grew up, and so it's
he lived his life. So.
But yeah, for me it's very clear.
Yeah. So how was motherhood for you at the time, and maybe it changed, and how is it now? But was it? I think you said it was a challenge.
I was already 37, and we were just thinking about becoming parents maybe in 1 year, because my husband wasn't. He didn't finish the university yet. He's younger than me. And so we were just not planning, but one day we just thought and say, well, maybe, why not, in 1 year? And then 2 weeks later, I was pregnant. And apparently, nobody knows how. No, I'm kidding. I mean, it was not planned, and there was no desire. There was no need for me, because I was like, okay, well, if it's something that can happen, I will be happy. Otherwise, I will be happy. I believe that you don't need to be a mother physically if you want to experience motherhood. We can be mother for projects, for other people, even if you are not mother. You can explore. We can explore motherhood in many different ways. So I was detached enough, but open enough when it happened.
Thank you. I'm just sorry, I'm interrupting you, but this is really important. This is something society doesn't tell us. And for those women who have challenges having babies, this is something really, really good to hear, because it's so in our mind that we have to be in order to be complete, we need to be mothers. But it's not always through physical motherhood. You're right. And someone remembered me once that there's in France there's Mère Teresa, and we call her Mère, but she's not even a mother.
Exactly.
But because she's the mother of everybody, it's a different, like, motherhood is something wider than just being the mother of a child. So thank you for just pointing that out. I think it's
I'm happy that we are speaking about this, because I think it's very important to distinguish our truth from social pressure. Also for the health of our children, because when I hear women maybe in their 50s with no partner, no family, saying, "Well, maybe I can become a mother just to have some company." Wait, because you are 50 now, and you can't instrumentalize. I don't even know if this word exists.
I think it does.
You cannot instrumentalize motherhood or a child in order to get some company. We need to be very clear about our call, it's like to be aware of the consequences of our actions. And this is why I believe that women need to be sincere with themselves and understand where this desire to become mother comes from. If it's something, of course, is biological, of course, it's in our nature too. And it's true that through motherhood, we can find out, we can discover nuances of our life and body and resources that otherwise we couldn't probably. But it's very important to understand who we are and what we want really for the benefit of our family, to ourselves and our potential children. This is I think this can be very hard. So let me say things that look a bit maybe harsh even. Do you know how, well, it's also something that native people, they know very well. In order to preserve the forest, the woods from the fire, they cut trees in specific places. But if a fire happened, the fire cannot pass that line, and so they save another part of the forest. Now what they do, my son went to work one summer like a fire ranger, so I know that. Now they do it burning trees. So they put fire on the trees in specific on purpose, so to create the kind of paths and to protect the trees from the fire. Sometimes this is a way to preserve life, apparently through death. Looks like it's, you remember the coin, the flip side of the coin. So we need to be sincere, and we need to be merciless with ourselves and understand where we are first of all, and then it's hard to not to judge other people. I know. I worked and still work with some women who decide to not to be mothers, even if they got pregnant, and it's a very hard decision. And they took that decision thinking of the consequences. And what I can say, looking at those mothers, is that anyway, there are consequences. Because when you choose to be a mother, you go through some consequence. And when you choose to not to be a mother, there are other consequences. But there are, both decisions are something that become part of ourselves and of our life. So we are really, it's really a delicate point, and we must be respectful towards any kind of decision. I remember my best friend in Italy. She's someone who maybe we call each other once a year, but we are so close. So when I go to Italy, I immediately, first thing, I visit her. So, but then we can stay 1 year without news. I remember many years ago, she has already had a child, and she called me and she said, I'm pregnant. Oh, are you happy? I don't know, because they told me I have a virus. They told me the baby has very, very high possibility to be not healthy. So they told me if I want to give up this pregnancy. And she asked me for advice, and I didn't give her advice. I told her I can't give advice on this point. This is your decision. The only thing I can tell you, I'm with you. I don't mind what you will decide. I will be with you. So feel free to let me know what you do. I'm with you. I will stay to your side. And it was very funny, but I didn't hear from her for a long time. And I respected her space. And one day she called me and said, I'm in the delivery room. giving birth, and she immediately remembered that she forgot to tell me, and she called me from the delivery room. I'm not in the delivery room. I'm delivering. Right? Okay, I'm with you. And then the baby was perfect. So anyway, it's very delicate. But what we have to do is respect those mothers and the decision they took if they decide to not become a mother, because anyway, the fact that they became pregnant made of them mothers. The body knows, the body records, and so we need to be aware.
And also, I believe that when you want to be a mother, it's for different reasons depending on the woman. And so if your biggest desire is the transmission, then you can, and you're not able to have children, well, you can do this transformation differently. Like Marie-Josée Tardif, she couldn't have children, but we consider her our mother because she's so wise and so kind, and her dream came true through the path that she chose, and that made her a mother in a way that she didn't expect.
Yes, I agree totally with you. And of course, there are many challenges in any choice, any experience, and the most important thing is respect. Because there is a lesson everywhere, and there is wisdom in nature, and also wisdom in our choices. Sometimes we don't understand our choices, but we always do the best we can with the resources we have in that moment.
That's true.
So it's useless to regret, to think, oh, maybe I could have done something different. No, and if you made a decision at that moment, probably that was the decision you could make. And what is the best you can do now, from now on, with that? There is always something good we can do, always something that we can learn and we can transmit. Always.
Okay. So for you, coming back to your story, motherhood was a decision, but it happened faster than you expected.
Yes, it was. Yeah, but yes, let's say yeah. Go ahead.
And how was it then to be a mother of this particular child? Because
this child came to the world in a very turbulent way, because he tied himself a leg with a cord, so he couldn't. Yeah, at the end we needed this C-section. That was the last thing I desired for myself and for him. But anyway. And he was very, very awake, so awake that 3 days he never slept in the nursery and the nurse were coming to me. He was eating, he was latching very well, no problem at all, but he kept looking at the world like this. Like this, and the nurses were scared and told me he never sleeps. He always look around like this. And after 1 month, my husband and I will start saying, who is this guy? It was just, and he never slept. He had a kind of issue with sleeping, no more than 2 hours in the night, nothing during the day. He was intense, very alive, very. And then Aries, I'm Capricorn, rising Aries. So we are like this. There is a lot of love, but also a lot of friction. Yes, and for me, the challenge, the maximum challenge was to understand him, because he was a few months old. He had this crisis of anger, and I understood that it was because he couldn't speak.
Yes, and so
couldn't express. So it was like, okay, guessing. What does it he wants? What is that? So maybe he was angry, and it was like a training for me to understand even later. And even now, he's very proud. So he likes to do everything by himself.
Oh, that reminds me of my little one.
Oh, yes. Don't teach me.
My little one is only 4. She's Aries too. And although she has really good vocabulary for her age, because she has an older sister, she goes into tantrums like, oh my God.
Exactly. Like, wow. And so, yeah, that was a challenge. And it still is a challenge because he's very independent. He's very good in everything. And for me, the challenge is that to keep my mouth closed and don't tell him anything. And it's crazy because everybody comes to ask for advice or support, but him. And I can see, and okay, well, and so I got the solution in one dream. Long time ago, before him, I remember this dream. And in this dream, a man who was a father, told me, with your children, you can't help them. And if you see them, they are going to hurt themselves. You can't tell them, look, you are going to hurt yourself like this. No, you stay beside them. You go with him, with her, with them. And you wait for the moment in which they do this. They bang their head against an obstacle. And then you are there to support them, just in case they ask for your help. Okay, well, this is wisdom. Sometimes you can't teach anything. Even if you are the best teacher, you can't teach anything to your children. You have just to wait and to respect the way they need to experience life. And this was a hard lesson for me. Respect, to not interfere, to understand, okay, yes, I already see the consequences, but I can't prevent him to go through the experience.
You're right, because some people really have to experience by themselves.
Absolutely.
To know that. And several times until they get it.
I'm very lucky because I'm very empathic, so I became able, or I was already able, I don't know, to learn from other people's experience. But they are not all the same. So I can learn from observing, and I can feel what other people feel, and feel the consequences. Like, oh my gosh, I feel what they feel, so I understand. There is a lesson for me too. But sometimes we need really to experience that experience on our
body. And
body. Yes.
And I remember you said that he never slept. So how was it when you were a young mother?
I was lucky because I had already my training in relaxation, meditation, body-mind balance, connection, everything. So I could recover, even if not sleeping, and then I organized also a kind of network for help. I decided to work one day. I was giving craniosacral sessions and other kind of sessions. So I asked my mother-in-law, because my parents were too far, to help me one day a week. That day, I could see clients and see my son in between. The other days, I was at home, just recovering, balancing, and dancing with this roller coaster. So yeah, it's very important for us to create a network, not just inner resources, but also to be humble enough to ask for help if we need. And then, of course, what I earned from that day, I was spending, not everything, but a lot, for a babysitter,
Mm-hmm.
2 hours a day to rest.
Mm.
So, and then also keeping my time and energy to nurture the relationship with my husband, because I was very aware. The very first thing that happens in a marriage, when, especially when a child is so, let's say, not so easy, is that the relationship between the parents becomes harder. So and we need to be aware to keep a balance there too.
Mm-hmm.
Lot of things.
Yeah.
Lot of challenges.
So, but what would you say was the biggest one for you during all these years? The hardest one, maybe?
Well, to keep a balance between nurturing myself and to keep going, to keep doing what I love, because I love my job. It has so many nuances, and I love every single one of this. So to keep my balance, to be let's say, not a good mother. What is it's empty. It's an empty word, good mother. It's to be a mother the way I could be a mother, the best mother I could be for my son, keeping alive, nurturing the relationship with my husband, and keeping my boundaries. I understand when Dominic Rankin said we need to give ourselves everything first in order to
𝘤𝘰𝘮𝘦𝘗.
and then we can nurture our relationships and our marriage and our children. Otherwise, if we are depleted, we can't nurture
and give what we don't have.
No, exactly.
That's
so
true.
Yeah,
That recently, maybe a few months ago, Marie-Josée, so Marie-Josée Tardif is Dominic's wife, and she's also teaching the First Nation lessons. And she published on her Facebook page sentence, like quotes that really help her along the way. And the one is, if you're empty, what can you give? And so I think it's a Buddhist teaching that she received that basically goes along the same way. Like, giving comes from a place of receiving. If you just first have to learn how to receive and nurture yourself, and as you said, ask for help if you need to, and then you will be able to give a lot more than and I think this is one of the things you really taught me, because if I look at my relationship with my daughters now, of course they are older, so it becomes easier, but still, since I'm nurtured by what I'm doing, I don't have the feeling to give away that much or to be empty all the time when I give, because there's something that, the fire is on. So okay, you want help, you want cuddle, you want, okay, I don't have the feeling that I need to keep it for myself, because otherwise I'm going to be empty. So I think this is really the key, really.
This is very important. Especially right now in these times, because times there is a lot of pressure, always, and pressure doesn't help us to recharge our batteries. So we have to be aware, to nurture ourselves, to nurture others, to nurture our relationship, to nurture anything. We need it to be replenished first.
Yeah. Do you think there is still something taboo in motherhood? I felt something that it's still difficult to say, linked maybe to the conversation we just had.
Well, I would say just maybe is it taboo or not. I was in the middle of many conversations about accepting a pregnancy or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's still, there is still something there. There is something there. And I remember this image of it was not my cat, it was the cat of a friend. I kept the cat for a while, and she was too old to get pregnant. So she knew her limits. And I kept saying, my friend, I will bring her to the vet because she needs to be fixed. Otherwise, she's too old. It's painful, it's difficult. The last 2 times she delivered cats, they were all died in a few days. And then she was like, no, I'm in a tour, it's maybe later, maybe. And then probably the cats, the kittens were dead inside. And I found out the mother cat, jumping from the window, coming and going. The door was open. She ran upstairs. She jumped from the window, splashing with her belly, trying to get rid of the kittens because probably they were dead. And I saw, oh my gosh, wow. And then I brought her to the vet because she knew better. So this is why I say, don't judge, because sometimes women cannot make other kind of decision than go through there, because if they feel they can go to the end, we have to respect this. Even if it's not our choice, it would be a different choice. Our choice would be, no, I will keep the baby. Don't judge, because otherwise it's like we are blaming our sisters. Why? Just because we have different experiences? We have just to stand for each other and be supportive. And if we don't understand, well, we can step away, but with no judgment.
Because it's also because we don't know her story, don't have the big picture. I still remember the story you told in one of your videos. I think it's a son and a father, and the son is
it's a complex story. It was a master with a disciple, and the master saying to the disciple, okay, I will accept you, but you have to stay silent. Don't judge my actions.
Exactly.
And then the disciple sees the master doing something that, like, okay, they walk through a kind of party. There was the prince, very beautiful man, such a beautiful man, and the master smashed his face and ran away. And this disciple, like, what did you do? What, you ruined his face? It was so beautiful. And the master said, you promised me. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't say any word. And then the second thing they do at the end, the master explains and rejects the disciple, because he says, I smashed his face because he was too arrogant for his beauty, and he would have killed his father, who is a good king, in a few months, just because of his beauty. So something like this, we can't judge, because
exactly. And the story of your cat also reminds me, once you told me nature is harsh. Like, animals kill their little ones every time when they feel they won't make it. So it's an act of love, actually, and of preservation, because
exactly
they see the whole picture.
They are connected to nature. Nature is really harsh because it works to preserve life. And in order to preserve life, for the trees in the fall, in the autumn, they need to get rid of their leaves. And thanks to this, they can survive the winter. Otherwise, no resources. This is the point.
So that's very, very important. Well, thank you, Monica. I always love chatting with you.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry that my French lasted maybe 30 seconds. I will ask you for some practice sessions.
Just because before we finish, do you want to talk briefly about what you do? Because now you will come back to Montreal in October, so we'll be neighbors again.
I will be busy unpacking for 1 month for sure, but then I would be so happy to dance again with women and to teach again, to reconnect with our inner resources, the nature resources, the inner cycle and the nature cycles from within. So what I do, I help women, especially women, to reconnect with their resources, to understand these 4 stages of life. They are always present. It doesn't matter if you are not kids anymore. We are always children and adults and elders. Every part of ourselves is within and needs just to be discovered and reconnected to the others. So and I love to do this through the body, because the body is a teacher. It's part of the nature. It's nature. Of course, our spiritual side, beyond the body, everything, but we are here to experience spirituality through this body. So the sacredness of the body and how to preserve the body also somehow, and right, because it's not because we want to live forever, but we want to have a good life in this body. So we want to experience freedom through the body, not from the body. Well,
it's important to preserve it as well, because this is our vehicle. I don't know if it's an English word, on earth, right? So
exactly. And it's sacredness. It's the temple of our soul. So this is what I love to do. And then
so you offer courses online. They are still available.
Yeah.
And you also wrote a lot of books.
Oh yes, and unfortunately my books for now are only in Italian and in English. Maybe in the future we can speak about translating them. You can be the right person.
That could be great, yeah. Because I mean, I myself take so much time to read them because they are in English and they're so deep that it's not something I could read. No. I really need to stop. So in French, I think it would be fast. Yeah.
And also the online courses are both in English and in Italian. The good thing is that being an Italian, I express a lot of things through gestures. So sometimes people say me, "Oh, I understood everything," because well, and then there is a part of embodiment. So this is something that we can. But
so anyway, I will put all your links under the video. So if you want to discover, if you want to discover Monica's work, feel free. It's just great. So thanks again. Merci beaucoup. Merci.
Merci tout le monde. Merci Anne.
Bien. Et puis, donc, je vous donne rendez-vous au mois d'octobre pour la prochaine entrevue. Donc, il va sortir le 2 octobre. On aura rendez-vous avec la tisseuse, une autre belle-mère de clan. Et en attendant, je vous souhaite une très bonne journée. Je vous souhaite de connecter et préserver vos ressources internes qui sont extrêmement importantes quand on est maman. Merci. Bye bye tout le monde. Bye bye.